Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to be able to talk to you and be able to talk about some brand new music from Seven Kingdoms coming out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's looks good on my end.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Well, of course, like I mentioned, we're here to talk about some brand new music coming out in the form of an EP through Seven Kingdoms, and it seems like everything's going in the right direction when it comes to this. I mean, some brand new music that's about to come out, new album next year, new label, upcoming touring. It seems like a pretty busy time in the world of Seven Kingdoms.
Oh yeah, I mean it's super busy for the band right now. Let's see if I can move this. How do I move this? I guess not. So the it's super busy for us right now. Well, I mean, this year was really slow, just because we were recording, and you pretty much you always have like almost a year lull every time that there's a recording. I mean, at least for us historically, because we're still like getting to the point where we're touring so much, you know what I mean? But like the year before that, though, what was it, 2023? I think we toured 5 times. I mean, between the U.S. and or no, it was 3 times, and then we did two before that. But I mean, like the Zenith like block of the Zenith cycle, I should say, we had 5 tours in it within 2 years, so it was a bit for the markets. Um, so we wanted to take some time off and then just to record. And we actually, I mean, when we were writing the EP, we wrote, I think we have like another like 8 songs already, so like the album is mostly sketched out at least. It's got to go through a lot of tweaking and some structural stuff, but like a lot of the riffs were there, you know what I mean? So we did more than the EP, which is why it took a little bit of time. So and then we picked a couple off just to do the EP. We decided to do an EP just because like it's easier to break like 12 songs or even 14 songs up into 2 releases rather than just one, because I mean modern day metal, you dump an album and people are ready for the next one like in a year. So it's like we're doing it purposely to spread it out, to create cool pressings that you normally wouldn't get. Like our EP is on 10-inch vinyl, like splatter, so it's sick. And then also with the Kickstarter, it gives the fans. Actually, we have the fans kill songs, so like they'll vote to either kill probably two of them or potentially keep them all, and it gets moved to the record. But we'll see how the fans do. We like to involve our fans that way through our crowdfunding, so they have a say in what happens. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the purpose, is to dip our toes in the water before we do the record, kind of put the feelers out. So like this is a it's a the EPs are always testers before we go and do the whole record. So the whole record's super involved, so it's nice to kind of feel the waters real quick, right before the year before, we do dump a new record again. So that was kind of the plan and the process for it. But yeah, we're super happy with the label. I mean, we've had a lot of really bad experiences with labels in the past, but we were with Maurizio from Cataclysm. And he's actually our manager. So we
I never knew
signed.
that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's that's a whole another loaded thing. I work for Hard Impact and for the management company, but then like I'm also managed by that company. But like Maurizio is essentially, he's the guy that helps and pulls the strings here. But then because I'm also involved with the management company, working for the other bands and then also mine, he has much less to do for us besides just kind of direct and steer and then get people to look at us and take offers and stuff. So my own personal life, aside from the band, is wildly busy on that side of things. Plus, like I essentially TM for a living and run a tour service company. So it's been a really crazy year. I mean, especially for me. The band's been a little bit slow, but like I'm literally going to be on a plane to head to Europe right after we get off of the interview to the Windrose tour over there with Powerwolf. So wild time.
Oh, definitely. And it's I'm so glad to hear that things are working good with RPM. Like every interview that I've done lately with any band who has signed on with them has said nothing but great things about the label, and I'm glad to see that's another case here.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I've known Gerardo for a long time because I'm I do. I work for Peter from Hypocrisy and Pain. So essentially, like I'm the North American guy for a lot of bands for like tour management and like crew and tour service over here. So I met Gerardo through. Actually, I met Oscar and Gerardo through Peter. Actually, I met Oscar before because I was ordering T-shirts from him when he was at the T-shirt company, and that's his brother. So like Oscar and Gerardo I've known for a long time. Mauricio is really close with them. Peter trusts them, and we were kind of skeptical. I mean, that's what I was saying. We were with Distortion Music Group, which was Maurizio's imprint that was essentially being funneled through Nuclear Blast back when Zenith came out. So we signed with that, and we had. I mean, honestly, like Maurizio did a better job than any other label we were on previous at that point in time, and he was a fraction of the size, but we still got more out of it. So I mean, that tells you something. And then essentially all the stuff happened with Nuclear Blast and RPM and stuff like that, and then Gerardo started RPM, and then Maurizio and Gerardo got together. They've shown us a lot of effort so far. I'm super happy. I've never gotten the volume of like work and detail out of a label so far in our career that we've gotten out of RPM. So I mean, we definitely feel like a family. That's always what I've wanted. You know what I mean? It's just to like, okay, like this is our band. You know what I mean? Rather than just like, oh, this one and then the next one and the next one. So I'm happy that like I'm really satisfied with it so far. And I mean, we just started. So like, if it's good now, I can't wait to release the record with them. And actually, I think we're gonna do something different. I think we're actually still going to we're gonna do a crowdfund in what's the word? We're still gonna keep doing the crowdfunding, but it's gonna be in conjunction with RPM. So that's gonna be potentially, I don't want to say revolutionary, but like you know what I mean? Like we have a very unique deal with them. And it's all about just working together for a common goal, which is kind of very old school. But at the same time, that's what works for us, and that's what makes us happy.
And I love that because it satisfies, potentially satisfies all three sides. It satisfies the band, the label, and everyone that is a part of the crowdsourcing as well. Just being to make all sides happy with that. And that is such a cool way to go about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with the model, like I don't, we're so used to funding the pressing and then the promotion and everything by ourselves. So, when we go do the crowd, I mean, that's still yet to be decided, but it's because we're putting up the money because we're responsible for it. Essentially, there's less financial risk for the label. So even if there's a little less reward, it's just not so much to handle and deal with. You know what I mean? And because of that, I feel like, especially because of me and us, like we're so proactive, maybe more so than some other bands, at making sure it's done right, correctly, making sure they have the tools they need from us to push it, and vice versa. It's worked out really good. So I'm really hoping that when the EP comes out November 8th, that I mean, we already sold a sum of product, you know what I mean? But like, we're going to be touring in the US for that, and then also in Europe. So I'm just hoping everybody gets, what they thought they wanted out of it or more. And I'm sure it'll happen. So it's a process, but we're happy to have a home there.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that touring that is coming up, I mean it's such a great time to be able to go on tour and do a North American tour like right after the release of the EP, and it's such a stellar bill from start to finish as well too. Anyone who gets the opportunity to be able to see this tour, I think is going to be in for a great night.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, so we got the chance to tour with Stryker with Beast in Black in 2022. I was already a rabid Stryker fan before that, so like, uh, that was really cool to meet them and then like, bond with them on that tour, and it was like peas and carrots. So like, ever since that, like, it's been like a main goal. I was like, we gotta do a tour with them. We gotta do a tour with them. Gotta do a tour with them. You know what I mean? Like just like us or paired up with somebody again because they're just such a rad group of guys, and that worked out really well. So I mean, even though it's like, I mean, even though it's essentially a small headlining tour, like I'm super stoked just because it's just so many friends. And I mean, we've met members of Lutharo. They're really sweet. You know what I mean? But we'll get to know them a lot more after this. And, they've been putting in work too. And I'm stoked with the bill so far. And I think, I mean, especially this month, starting like literally now, like we're all starting to kind of focus on the tour and starting promoting it and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm stoked for it. We were actually the EP was supposed to come out before, but then RPM came on, and then we pushed it back to line up with the tour and all this other stuff too. So it just in the end, even if we had to move and delay a couple of things, everything came out, and it should be all lined up really nice.
Oh, totally. And with Stryker and Lutharo, they put out two incredible records this year. It's
Yeah,
it's great to see that they are doing the full-fledged North American touring for this as well too. But
yeah.
it's just again, like from start to finish, I love the fact that all three bands make so much sense, but they don't sound alike. Like you
Mm.
can put them all on the same bill, and it's just going to be such a great diverse night. And I just love the idea of that.
Yeah, I mean, so we had Stryker in mind, obviously, and then like, I mean, honestly, Lutharo was the first one that came to mind, and like, they had the tour with Ailstorm over here, so they've been and they did like I think they toured with like Raven, and then also like Night Demon too. So like, I know that they've done the big tour and they've done some grinders, so like, it's not like they're a brand new band to the market. So like, we were kind of, we didn't. I mean, we're a realistic band, and if it's just us and then a bunch of local bands, like I didn't want to do the headliner tour because like rather stay home and like wait. So you're always gonna have a show with like 50 people, you know what I mean, or like 20 people. I mean, it's happened to Rhapsody, Primal Fear, like all these kind of more mid-level power metal bands, and it's just we're focused on growing. So, and we wouldn't have gone out unless we had, a fairly strong undercard, I guess. I don't want to call it an undercard because they're, buddies, but like, just we're super happy that we have both of those bands, and I think they're going to add a tremendous amount to the show in the end. So we're really stoked to have them there.
Oh, totally. And for you guys as well, I mean, the fact that you get to add some new material into the set list this
Mm.
time, I mean, obviously, I imagine there's going to be songs from the new P that are going to be featuring on there as well. And what I do appreciate about the EP is like, it feels like all the tracks on there feel like they would work so well in the live setting. And, especially when you get a nice diverse sets, when you're doing a headlining set, you can add the heavier songs, you can add the more ballads, you can add the mid-tempo stuff and just make like a really good ebbing flowing set list. And I imagine you guys are working on that right now.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, we got the set done. I mean, we pretty much it's been rehearsed and stuff. So I mean, essentially, we're bringing the four original songs with us from the EP. Um, and then those are going to be weaved throughout the kind of familiar set that we have. We're also bringing two old songs that our Patreon people voted for. So we're going to be bringing the Fire's Mind track, and also the Tale of Deathface Ginny from the Fire's Mind album, and then Decennium. So those are two. We haven't played the Fire's Mind in maybe 5 years, maybe 6 years. Actually, 2017, the tour with Evergrey was the last time we played the Fire's Mind. So that's coming back for the set list. And then Deathface, we haven't played probably in 2 or 3 years, maybe. So at least those two will get there. And then we cut some things from this from Zenith, but it's a solid set. It definitely, like, it has the flow to it. So I'm pretty happy with it so far.
Yeah, and to me, that's what's important when I go to a show. I like the ebb and flow. I love the dynamics of a set list rather than just like doing all the heavy songs first and then the slower songs and then the
Oh
biggest
yeah,
hits.
yeah.
It's just like
No, it's a
I,
big
I want it to
deal.
be
Like,
fun from start to finish.
yeah, I mean, especially playing last, like we have to retain, you know what I mean, the crowd. It's like, it's one thing too, because like we're playing Striker's hometown, like they do really well in Edmonton. So I was like, we're all just like super nervous, like, hey, like we have to play after you guys. You want to switch for your hometown, brother? You know what I mean? Just to like, all the Striker people are gonna leave, just they're gonna be screaming "sucks to suck" at us. But no, it's just it's important to have a flowing set list that keeps the crowd engaged. And honestly, when we play it, I think that hour is going to go by really quick, and that's what you want, because then they're like, "Oh my god, the show's over," and they're still there. So that's the idea.
So thinking about that again, like when you're going through things like Patreon stuff, and people are voting for songs to be putting in the set list, like how is that for you? Like, is that exciting for you to see what songs the people want to be able to bring back, and then like especially if it's something you haven't played in a while, and then you're bringing it back, or is that frustrating, or how is that for you?
It's fine. I mean, usually, like, if we don't want to play a song, we don't even put it in the multiple choice. So essentially, if it makes it to Patreon, like, we've already decided, like, we'll go do it. I mean, there's a couple songs that we just like the band just doesn't want to play, or it, like, we have played it before and the vibe just doesn't translate live as it does on the album. So it's just one of those things. But I mean, we like we're a very DIY band. You know what I mean? We've been, wrecked by labels in the past. So if it wasn't for the crowd and our fans, we wouldn't be even doing what we are. And they've been keeping us alive literally for the last couple of records. So like we've tried to give back and like, please, you guys are really the label. You know what I mean? When it comes to us, I mean, maybe not the label, but you know what I mean? Like they're our bedrock essentially. So like we want to make sure that they feel uh as a part of the band, really. You know what I mean? And that's we try to offer that as something that not a lot of bands do. I mean, we really, really try to make sure that we're like, you guys make decisions with us kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's really worked out well.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see that too, because I know that's not always the case when that happens, when you ask for the audience, the crowd, to be able to help out that way. I mean, sometimes it does work out great, like it has in your situations, and other times it hasn't. But just I just remember when you first brought this to the table, and just seeing how everything has grown since then, and just like you mentioned, like being able to stay alive and keeping the band going, and being able to keep writing this great music and stuff. It's just great to see that that fan base is there from all over the world, being able to keep everything going the way that it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said, we just started kind of breaking into Europe again. We did two tours. 2013 was with Stradivarius Amaranth, and then 2014 we went back with Manticora. But we were almost like it was a different time. Like, you know what I mean? That was so long ago. Like it was like 10 years ago. So when we went back with Windrose last year, like we were kind of reintroducing the band. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's a lot of politics with playing Europe as an American band. You know what I mean? You have to have a booking agent over there that vouches for you, sees you. So literally the entire the entire goal of that Windrose tour was to re-expose ourselves and just impress Decibel. You know what I mean? So we had like because we didn't have a label at that time, and most of the booking agents don't want to take on the work unless like you have circulation from a label in Europe. So like we didn't, and they took a shot on us. And now we do. So like I'm really thankful that they bit. Thank you to Maurizio again for lining it all up and making sure people were like he was turning the head and being like watch. And then as soon as you just got them to go like this, they had a good time. They're like, we got to have it. That's all it takes sometimes. It's just the person to tell people to look and pay attention. And once you get them undistracted and they pay attention, like they're like, oh wow, like sick, let's do it. And then it's our responsibility to keep that momentum up.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, again, bringing it back to the beginning here, obviously with heading over to Europe, that's going to be happening before the release of the next album. But again, with the Square, I mean, it's a great thing to be able to head over to Europe on an EP, being able to
Yeah, yeah.
show the next chapter. So thinking about that, like, what was it like when, obviously working on the album as well too, but like finalizing for the EP, like, how much effort does it go into putting an EP compared to putting out a full-on album?
Honestly, it's almost the setup, the crowdfund portion of it is almost the same because you still have to design everything, you still have to get a cover, you still have to do, almost everything. It's just there's less songs. So it's almost the same effort, I should say, putting it together. There's just less text, like physically. But the recording process is about it's like even though it's not a half a record, it's four original songs instead of like five or six. I mean, well, theoretically it is five because of the cover song, but like it takes about probably, I'd almost want to say almost, no, it's like half. It's about half, maybe a little under half of like the volume of studio time and money that has to go into that. Um, I mean, it's a loaded question because like you got to break it up into the writing portion, and then you're ready to go into the studio and the time it takes to do the studio, and then the crowdfunding portion, and the release and the promotion of it. And then with an album too, like because it's an album, like you have a little, like we generally have a little bit more of a budget. We spend more money on the album. So like that's why the EP has been good because it's kind of a test. It gives us a good metric to measure against old EPs to get ready for what we think is going to happen with that. Obviously, touring in the US and then touring in Europe again before we do a crowdfund is really important. So we get new fans that haven't done it yet. So we constantly grow. Um, yeah, I mean, every crowdfund, like I have the data. So like we've grown, like there's been like major percentage increases across the board everywhere. So as long as we can keep that up, um, we're golden, really. Like as long as we can keep that up and the tours keep coming, that's really all it takes. It's just and then doing it, playing them well, and coming home safely.
Oh, absolutely. And you did mention it, and I was curious, like, what was it like throwing in a cover song this time around? I mean, obviously you want to show off what the band is doing right now, but throwing a cover, it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, so we actually during maybe it was before that. So the Empty Eyes EP that we did, we started doing we started, so there's a perk on our Kickstarter that's called Pick the Cover. So someone usually buys that, and then what they do is they submit a list of 10 songs, and then we decide on what we want to do with them. So it's not really, I mean, it's kind of our choice, but it's also like very directly influenced by somebody. So we've been doing that every single Kickstarter. So that's kind of why it's been like something different, you know what I mean? Um, so we always wanted to throw a Kickstarter in. I mean, that was actually an idea of one of our old bassists before they were gone. Is like we should do something that shows that we can play either a different type of music but still make it metal, but also like it's not something that we would normally write, but like it gives a shot for people to hear the band do something a little bit different. Also, Sabrina to sing something that might be a hit, and like essentially like "Boys of Summer." Like that's probably our favorite cover. um, and like we even covered it's off of YouTube now because Don Henley took it down himself. But like his team of people in the office that sit there and pull things down off of YouTube took it down. But we did like we took the music video they did, and we shot the music video as a like scene for scene cover also, and reshot everything like that video. So that was really cool. And people that are just knowing, maybe they stumble on something they really know, and that's what hooks them in. We've played Boy of Summer a lot, opening for bigger bands on tours, like it's the second to last song, and like you see people that didn't react yet to the set, that are there for the headliner, who like they perk up and they're like, I know this. And then they start singing. And then from that moment, they're hooked. And then they come to the merch table. They're like, you guys did a really great job. And I don't know the music yet, but the set was awesome. And I knew that song. And I want a t-shirt, a hoodie, a CD, and a vinyl. And then like, it was because we played something they were familiar with, made them happy. So it's a strategic move with the covers. But it's definitely paid off.
Oh yeah, it's a formula that always works. I mean, whether you're starting off as a smaller band, opening for a bigger band, whether you've actually garnered some attention and people still are
Yeah.
looking to figure out who you are, and then you throw in a cover. Exactly. I mean, especially when you do something big like that, it is such a smart way to go about it. And when you do it through the crowdsourcing and hearing what people want to hear you cover, I imagine sometimes it might get a little wacky and stuff like that, but sometimes you'll see a song and it just makes total sense.
Oh yeah, and even honestly, sometimes like we did Kiri for this one for this EP, and like we were really nervous because like none of us play keyboards, but then we were like, hey Jim, like or the guy that's been recording us and producing with us, for forever, and he's really an old 70s and 80s like prog rock guy, so he's like, I got you. And then we showed up at the studio. He's like, here's all the keyboards, just sing on top of it. And I was like, wow, like sick. You know what I mean? He figured it out. I mean, he found the exact keyboards they did it and had the virtual versions and made it for us. So like that was really awesome to have, that. So all the sounds, you know what I mean? Like we kind of, we were able to get someone to help us with that because I have no idea how to work a damn keyboard.
Oh, that's so cool. And it shows the importance of the people that you do work with like
Oh
Merzio,
yeah.
with the production side, if you need session people to be able to work with, the people that you go on tour with. Like, I don't think enough people talk about how great that is. I mean, obviously, the band that you're a part of, you want to make sure that you have the right chemistry, you're working towards the same goal, but the other people around you, the bigger circle that goes around it, when everyone's working towards the same goal, there's no better feeling.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's a huge deal. I mean, we haven't toured with like a full crew yet, but we're lucky enough to at least carry like a merch guy and a front of house now, pretty much everywhere we go. And just having someone watch merch is like, because like, it's like me and Sabrina are gonna be like the main drivers on this tour like coming up. So like I don't have to sit at the merch table. I can literally just sit and like maybe take a nap like backstage for an hour, you know what I mean? So I can drive 2 hours after the show. And then it's just you have peace of mind, and the idea is the longer you're playing and especially the more involved and the bigger you get, the less distraction you want, because that's the thing, is like the bigger you get, like it gets silly, you know what I mean, like at some point, I mean, like if you look at like what Powerwolf is doing, you know what I mean, and the vault, like what goes into their show, like when they get in, yeah, they get to like, go visit the town and stuff like that, but like their sound check's going to take 30 to 45 minutes of them dealing with it and just making sure they're comfortable. They're going to go back, eat, and then like as soon as the doors open, like they have an hour of makeup. You know what I mean? So like it's just like, and then I imagine someone that size like having to be like, I got to go sell merch to 2,000 people in the United States. Like it's just it doesn't work. So when the artist is able to just focus on the show more and more moving forward, the show just gets better. And that's what we're working on, especially me. Like I'm really like Camden has too many hats all the time. So like I'm slowly trying to take off the hats to put bigger, lesser hats on. So
So
yeah.
So thinking about that, I mean, obviously, when you are in a band like this that has done so much DIY stuff, like when you are able to put the hats onto other people or you're able to switch up the roles, like how is that for you? Is it like freeing to be able to not do certain things or being able to work on different things and switch things up? How is that for you?
Honestly, like it's just, I mean, the first time you have a new crew member, there's a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, you got to know them and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, even when I'm working as a tour manager and I'm providing crew, or I have a new person that I don't know that I'm providing, like there's a moment of like, you got to live with the person and learn them. You got to learn people, which is a big trait that you have to have on the road. And you have to have boundaries with everybody. You have to know when, especially if like I'm the boss or something like that on the tour that I'm working, you have to know the right times when they can be pushed to be greater, and then when to back off because they've had a rough day, and then also to come in and like they need a hug. You know what I mean? So it's literally down to that. But once you find a set of people, and it goes for pretty much every band, once you find a comfort level, you pretty much like that's it. Like you're pretty much with them until further notice. You know what I mean? You're gonna be your first call, because like one thing that bands definitely don't like is switching up crew with random people all the time. They're like especially the bigger they get, they're trying to keep the same people all the time.
Oh yeah, it makes so much sense. I mean, once you know the pros and cons of a particular person and what they're capable of, I mean, you want to be able to keep that going and just making that machine run as well as it possibly can.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, in my perspective, I've been fruitful actually, uh, finding newer people and teaching them kind of the way that I want it to be done, like especially like merchandise or backline or anything, and showing them the ropes. Going through those sandpaper moments with them to make them grow, because like that's what makes greatness. And then by the time they're old and stuck in their ways, they're your ways that you taught them. You know what I mean? And you were the one that gave them the shot, and that's been it's a little more work on the front side, but like it's more comfortable later down the road, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just it again, like I'd mentioned in the beginning, it's just like it's so great to see all the great things that are happening with the band right now. We talked new label, we talked new EP. Obviously, the album stuff, I know that's still in the works, and that's something to really look forward to towards the end of next year, the upcoming touring. But of course, with this EP, it's great to see that not just audibly great things are going on, but visually as well too. Like the fact that you put so much effort into the title track and putting a great music video out for that. What was it like shooting for that?
It's funny actually, because of the independent DIY ness. I mean, I did them. So like, I have a buddy that is a full time content creator, and he's got a bunch of really good gear. I have roughly the same gear, so um, we do music videos together and separately and stuff like that. So like that's all in house, which is really nice for us. It saves a ton of money. Um, so we had a budget. Jimmy came out and filmed. I did as much back behind the scenes, and I mostly directed it. He was the DP, so like he was running the camera most of the time. I flew the drone and that, and then also the next video that's coming out through these waves. And then also Wilted Pieces actually was just me. So that was just I even just for the couple of shots that I have, I was just like literally like, here's the shot, and I was like teaching my cousin how to do it real quick because like I can do everything else. I just need someone to film me because I'm on the opposite side of the camera. You know what I mean? But like it's been really wonderful to have that in house, and we've done a lot of music videos together. So like they should just, I mean, just like music, like when you grow with the same team, they should just be better, and we had some budget for this. So like it's mostly like location based. We're from Florida, so we wanted to do something. I mean, the song's called Through These Waves. So like we wanted to connect them, you know what I mean? And show the beach just because we like the beach and it was a sick day. So um yeah, no, we're really stoked with the videos. I can't wait for the next one to come out and then the one after that to come out. I mean, I love the square. It was really good, but the next two are personally like my favorites of them. I mean, the square is like the beginning, you know what I mean? It's kind of princess in a castle, like forlorn, and then that, and then the finale essentially of the visual portion is going to be Through These Waves coming up. And then the Wilted Pieces video is really just a cool looking video that I think is really an enjoyable video to watch. And like, there's so many little different things that happen in it that like by the time the song's over, you're like, oh my god, it's over, and you have to watch it again, kind of thing. So that's kind of that's what we try to do. Is we did it differently. There's not a lot of performance in it. Actually, there's no performance in it hardly ever at all. But like, we just wanted to do something a little different. I'm sure when we do the first music video for the new album, it'll be very performance based because these weren't. But like, it was fun to do the storytelling and shoot it a different way than a performance. Performance, you're doing laps around like the same song. You're playing the song like 60 times, whereas this is like, I need you to say this line and it's this movement. You know what I mean? And did you get the shot? There's one time to get the shot versus I've got 4 or 5 laps around the drummer and we're going to pick the best parts for, you know what I mean? So it's a different style of shooting, definitely. And it's definitely a lot more storytelling the way we did these.
Yeah, and I just appreciate hearing that there is more videos coming out as well too. I'm glad the fact that there's going to be representation for everything.
Oh yeah, no. So we're gonna have a video for every song on the EP. The cover song is done. That's gonna come out after the North American tour, and then we're actually working on Serpent and the Lotus. That's gonna have a bunch of footage from North America in it. And then we'll have a lot of special guests in that one, just like in the video. So it'll be fun.
Oh, that is just so cool. And again, so much more to look forward to. I mean, especially from now and then thinking about like a year from now,
Oh
around
yeah, no,
what.
we're
Yeah.
just getting started with this.
Mhm.
So like, and it's funny because like we were done with this in like March, and so we've been like, no one's heard it. I mean, you've heard everything, I guess. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like I have no idea who's heard it. Like, so like literally when we dropped the video, that was the first taste of like y'all like it? You know what I mean? Like it was our family, each other, and then like Maurizio, you know what I mean? And then I think I showed like Windrose and Unleash the Archers, and they were like, oh, this is really great, blah blah blah. But it's different when it's a stranger being like, this is really good, and you have no idea who the hell that person is.
Yeah, again, it's just so cool to me. And again, like I'm thinking about like a year from now, like when when the new album comes out and everything, and just seeing everything that'll be coming out from then. And of course, I also imagine like obviously Seven Kingdoms is a huge priority, but I also imagine that there's going to be some touring that you're going to be doing outside of that as well too, with the tour managing, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm essentially full time with that now. I mean, I run a small crew that I mean, one of my merch girls is out. Actually, one of my merch girls is out with Flesh God right now, and I'm virtual TMing that tour, which is ridiculous. But like, yeah, so it's just like I'll be TMing that here while I'm over in Europe. Like, it's just what is my life at this point? You know what I mean? So but no, I think I already picked up something for May next year. But also depending on the schedule for Seven Kingdoms, we there's a shot we won't even tour in North America next year because we're focusing on Europe. So that's part of our marketing is that don't miss the tour in the fall with Striker and Lutharo and us because like they're trying to put us over there for that. Then we need to come home and write and get the recording ready. We're supposed to go play potentially some festivals overseas in the summer, and then come back and finish recording, get the record out, and finish the Kickstarter and all that other crazy stuff, and fulfill it, mail it, lick the envelopes. And then we've been submitted for a couple tours already in the fall in Europe already. So if all that happens, like we just don't have time to do the U.S. for next year. But what would happen is we would pretty much focus on it. It would be like a spring and fall for 26 and then maybe something in the summer, I don't know, but it would be a big deal like if we don't. I kind of don't want to play North America next year because we focus on that so much, and honestly growing in Europe also translates overseas, not vice versa, but like if you blow up in Europe you will have more fans here, but if you have a ton of fans here it doesn't necessarily translate that way backwards. So that's kind of the focus right now.
Yeah, that's such a smart way to go about it too. And again, like being based over here and being able to tour here so much, being able to expand to those other territories, especially Europe, the festival circuit, the club shows, everything that can go along with that. Especially with so many of the bands that you have opened with and toured for are based over in Europe, so it just makes a lot of sense to be able to try to break out more as much as you can over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and like I said, I mean, I we all trust Maurizio's guidance, and like he's really good at what he does, man. And like he knows how to keep his finger on the pulse of everything that's going on there. And as we've been working together, he's opened a lot of doors for us, and he's insistent that like if we just focus on Europe, like more doors will open. So like we're just listening to the higher ups at this point in time and the advice that we're given, and it should pay off. It's just we gotta go over there, seal the deal, and come home safe.
Oh, definitely. Well, sadly, I see my Zoom is about to close off in about a minute and a half, but I think we covered so much ground here, and I thank you so very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in your world, whether it's tour managing, whether it's Seven Kingdoms, so many great things to look forward to. The Square coming out November 8th through RPM, upcoming touring with Stryker and Lutharo in North America, upcoming touring in Europe next year, and all the great stuff to look forward to. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of this. I've enjoyed you guys so much since I discovered you guys opening for Blind Guardian in
Oh
November
wow,
2010 in Minneapolis, and
man, we're a
just
totally different
seeing
band
everything
now.
grow since then has just been incredible. And being
Yeah.
able to talk to you about a new EP and everything to look forward to in the future, it's just been awesome.
Thank you very much for just sticking with us for so long. We really appreciate your support, and I mean, thank you again for just taking interest in what we do. This is what makes us want to keep doing it. So thank you very much.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, one last time, I thank you so much. I know you got a lot of busy stuff going on, so I appreciate your time so much. I can't wait to show off this interview and everything and be able to promote you guys right. So, yeah,
Oh
one
yeah,
last
we'll
time,
share the
thank you
shit
so
out of it.
much.
Yes, sir.